Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is nothing that's necessarily groundbreaking about Glowforge, but I needed to make one. So we are making this beautiful acrylic and wood name puzzle. Now I'm going to a birthday party. I wanted her to have something cute. And so this is using birch plywood, acrylic, acrylic, 1/4" acrylic from Cerulean Tides, and then a beautiful patterned adhesive vinyl from Sparkleberry ink. So I'm just gonna go through the steps on how I made this. This is certainly something that a lot of people have made, so definitely, don't give me the credit for this. People much smarter than me and much more ahead of the curve than me have made these. But I'm going to share with you how I made this and how I glued my parts into here. So I'm really excited about this. You can check out all the materials I used in the description. If you want to get a Glowforge of your own, you can visit glowforge.com/LisaPottsDesigns. And if you're looking for training, don't forget I do offer training options. So as we get going, if you like this video, please give it a like, maybe subscribe, and if you really like it, a super thanks does go a long way for my channel. It helps me provide more resources for you guys and more materials for videos. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and start making our project. Alright, so let's set up this puzzle in Silhouette Studio. So the first thing I'm going to do is just make my workspace a little bit bigger. There's no real reason per se for this, but it's easier for me mentally to kind of work on it when I know I have more space. So I'm going to keep it 19 inches wide and just go ahead and make it 19 inches tall if it doesn't auto-correct on me. Alright, so 19 inches tall. I like working in a square workspace. It's all just a matter of personal preference. So this puzzle, you want it to have rounded corners. I don't like the harshness of the square corners. So what you can do is you can go over to this left side, hover over the drawing tools, and then you can see there's a rounded rectangle option. So we'll get that and click and drag to create our rectangle. So I'm going to start here and then kind of adjust from there. So I'm going to use these little red dots here, and I'm going to click and drag to curve the corners a little bit more. So you'll see when I adjust one, it adjusts all four. So we have these nice rounded corners. So whenever you have a draw shape and there's little dots on there somewhere, that means you're able to modify the shape in some way, shape, or form, if I can. But right now, I don't need to change anything else. I'm done rounding the corners. So I'm going to right click and convert to path. So you can see those little dots go away, and that's a straight rectangle. So now we need to resize. So my piece of vinyl that I'm going to use is 12 by 12, so I need to make sure my square will fit within that. Because it doesn't go all the way to the edges, we could make our square a little bit longer, but I think 12 is a good size. So we're going to go over, hit our width up here, and type in 12 and hit enter. So you can see that it adjusts it proportionately based on what we have here. So just to make it a little bit taller, I'm going to take it and keep it at 12, but I'm going to change my height. This is unlocked, so the width will stay the same and the height will change. And I'm just going to make this about, let's look and see how 5 inches looks. That's a little bit too high for me, so let's split the difference and say 4. Okay. I'm happy with that. Now, I don't make puzzles a whole lot. So if you do make puzzles a whole lot and you're watching, feel free to comment and tell me like what your ideal dimensions are. I'm just kind of going off of what I think, how I feel. All right, and now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm gonna make it 4.5. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now, when we do a puzzle, we need multiple layers. We need our base layer for everything to sit on. We need our layer for our text, and then we also need our acrylic cutouts for the letters. So I'm going to very quickly make a copy of this. I'm going to hold down Alt, click and drag. So now I have 2 copies. This first one, we're pretty much done. This is the base, so we don't have to do much more. And now we need to type our name. So let's go over our text tool and type our name. This is for Piper. This is the same Piper that I did that oversized sign for last year. All right, so now we need to choose a font. I like a font that is like a slab, so really thick, but the corners are rounded too. When I looked through the fonts on my computer, there was one, it's like Fredoka one. I don't know. I'm not really sure how to say that. So let's go ahead and stretch this out. So we want our letters to be taller, but let's go ahead and shrink it a little bit because we also want a little bit of space between there. So see how close they are? We're gonna go over to our character spacing and increase it a bit, okay? So we can set it right in there. And I think that this is a good placement. So if you look at our font right now, I have it clicked, which means we have our selection box turned on. Notice how the box is much larger than our words. So this goes back into what I was referencing earlier with editable shapes and lines. So because this is text, it's still a font. This means that we can change our font, we can retype it, anything like that. And so this box is going to the shape of our font editing box. Let me double click. So I'm in text edit mode, and see how this green box is all the way up here. You're gonna get a box that's larger than text very often when you're in text edit mode, because fonts will oftentimes have, you know, parts of the letters that are under or over the typical line. So since we're all good with this, we're going to take this, right click, and we're going to convert to path. So now they are shapes, they're all set to go. And because we have an accurate look at what the dimensions or the edges of that word is, we can now align it. So we're going to take it like this, click and drag, and we are going to center. Cool. So here is the wood part of our sign. We're all set to go with this. And now we need to set up our acrylic letters. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to hold down the Alt button and click and drag. This creates a completely new copy right off the bat. I'm just clicking and dragging to make sure I didn't accidentally make another copy. And so this is what we're going to cut with our acrylic letters. So just to make it easier for me so I can use the same workspace and maximize my area, I'm going to take this, I'm going to change the line color. Now don't forget, when you're in Glowforge, the different line colors dictate the different steps in there or the different functions. So if you have multiple things in your workspace and you want one thing to cut and one thing to engrave, you need to make sure they have different line colors, because that is how the software differentiates new things. So we have it right here, and I'm just going to very quickly ungroup. And the reason why I'm ungrouping is that way I can rearrange it in my software to maximize my space. So here we have this all set. Now, some people, I didn't mean to zoom out, I'm sorry. Some people will even draw little circles on the edges here to make it easier for the little fingers to take them out. I am choosing not to do that, but you can do it right here. And let me show you how to do that step. So when you do that, you're just going to go ahead, do the circle tool, hold down Shift, click and drag, draw your circle. So I'm just using my select tool to make a new one. Okay, so now you have your circle right here. What you could do, since you're cutting these out together, is you can literally take your circle, grab your letter right here, and weld it. Because don't forget, this is the opening, like this is the cutout for your letters to go in. So you could just very quickly do that. I am not doing that today, but if you choose, that is what you do. And if you do that, just take that same circle, copy and paste, and put it in the same spot in each letter, and you're all set to go. So I am ready to start sending this to my machine. So we're going to grab our entire design. So you're going to select it like this, go to File, Save Selection. If you don't do that, then it's actually, if you just do Save As, it's going to pull this whole workspace. So that's how you have designs that come in that seem like they're like, the box, the bounding box for it is outrageously large because it's pulling in your artboard too. So save selection, save to hard drive. You're going to choose where you want it to go. Just make sure you choose SVG as your option, and I'll see you in just a second as we cut. All right, so here I'm in Glowforge. I have loaded in 1/8 inch birch plywood by Woodpeckers. So the first thing I always like to do is I like to set my focus. I hit the 3 dots in the corner. I'm going to hit the center. While that's going, let's go ahead and rearrange. So I'm going to click and drag this. That will be our cut. And then this is just our letters that will be acrylic. So we're going to click that and ignore because we obviously have wood in here right now. So now we can go through and choose our settings. I'm going to use a preset that I've used before for birch. So I do a speed at 160 and full power. This seems to work really well for me. If you start using this and it's not great, then you may want to adjust your settings. You may want to clean your machine. That's typically an indicator that your optics are dirty or your fan isn't picking up enough, so you want to check that out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, drag this as far in the corner as I can. This like gray shaded is our safe cut area, so I'm going to put it in this corner to make sure that I am maximizing my space. One thing that you could do too to avoid charring is you can also take this part right here and flip it so that the part that you glue down, if it's charred, it doesn't matter. I sand these anyway, so it's no big deal for me, so I'm going to continue on this process. So we're all set to go. Let's hit print and see how long this is going to take. I don't think it'll take long, 4 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead, cut this, and then I'll see you in a minute as we set up our acrylic part. Okay, so our first set is done. Now I have 1/4 inch, so thicker, clear acrylic in my machine. So I'm going to go ahead, take this first design, hit ignore, and then I'm actually just going to move it out of the way while I'm in here. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my piper and bring it over right here. So I'm going to use proof grade this time. So I'm going to do thick, clear acrylic. And I should be fine using a proof grade setting. Part of the reason why is because it's clear and I didn't put a paper mask on it, it's going to be really hard for it to focus. So I'm going to trust the proof grade settings and hope that it works. We're going to do cuts, and we're going to do proof grade cut. So the proof grade cut for this is 125 and full power. So we're going to go right here. Now what you could do for this as well, if you don't want to try what I'm doing, is you can use the shape tool and draw a little shape in there and do a test cut with that setting and see how well it works. I have decided to live my life on the edge today, so I'm just going to go ahead, stack the letters in here and go. So I might see you in just a minute with some successful letters. I might not. So let's go ahead, hit print, and I mean, you'll see the final product no matter what. So it's just a mystery to me as in how many steps it's going to take. Alright, so I have all of my pieces here. I am not going to use a vinyl cutter to cut this to shape. I'm literally just going to use a paper trimmer. So you can see we have it right here. It's pretty much 12 inches, so I just need to trim a little bit off. Now this vinyl is from, who is it from? Oh, I'm sorry. It's from Sparkleberry, Mandy at Sparkleberry. I received her monthly boxes for quite a while, but I will be totally honest with you, I struggled with like really knowing what to make with it. So it just resulted in me hoarding a ton of vinyl because I wasn't actually making anything with it. So this is a beautiful adhesive sheet that I got from her. I'm literally just going to use my base to kind of figure out where to cut. I want it to be a little bit shorter than this, but I want to make sure, you know, my letters fit on it. So I'm just going to check. That looks pretty good. So flip this down and cut like this. Now, of course, you could take this board, score the letters, and use it as a guide, but I didn't want to do that, so I didn't do it. Now, here is the name that we cut earlier. I just gently sanded this to make this smooth. You'll see this side, I did not sand it. You can see a little bit of my flashback marks. It's going to be glued, so I'm not concerned about that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put my adhesive on here. It's hanging off the edge of this ever so slightly, so I'm going to bring my paper cutter back and just trim a little bit off. Alright, so we're all good there. And we're going to find the center of this and place it. So you can do whatever you'd like. You can use transfer tape to put it on. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna kind of wing it in a way. So we'll just find where we want it. Okay, cool, 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 cool. I'm gonna take that corner down, smooth this right here. So now, just like you would with like a hinge method or something like that, I guess this is technically a hinge method too. I'm gonna peel the backing off. I'm gonna gently take my burnisher squeegee and just smooth that right down. Is it a little crooked? Yeah, it's a little bit crooked, but this is for the top of the puzzle, so I'm not concerned. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. I think it's super cute. So let me grab my glue. That's the one thing I forgot, so 1 second. Okay, so here's my name. I'm going to use my glue. This is called Super Tight. It's very similar to E6000. It's got way less toxins in it. The Crystal Ninja uses it and promotes it. I really like it. So we're gonna put our glue over here, keeping it from the edges because I don't want it to bleed out and have more work to do that. And then gently a little bit on the inside. So anywhere I see an area, I can do that. I mean, to be honest, I'm confident that if you're watching this, you are, you know, fairly up to speed with your gluing capabilities. So I'll let you handle that. Okay, so then we're just going to very gently place this on here. We're going to kind of make sure we have it lined up. I'll tap it against the table. This is another reason why I didn't want to put it on too thick, because I want to be able to slide it and not bleed. And now I'm going to use my little clamps. Be careful with the clamp. I just felt it shift a little bit. So when you clamp it, like, adjust it, make sure that you're not moving it too much. Oh, my hands are so weak. Okay, so I can see it adjusting, so I don't like that. So I'm going to unclamp it, tap it on here, and then we'll just place something heavy on this while it dries. So I'm going to gently just show you how this is going on. I'm going to give my acrylic letters a quick wash just to keep them clean, but they'll just go in here with our cute little puzzle. Where's my arg? Oh, here it is. Right, so then we have our clear Piper. And at the time of filming this, I might even cut these in white because, you know, it is what it is. So let me just do this, let it dry, and then I'll show you the final product. Hi, it's me, I'm back. So I don't have any white acrylic right now, but I did decide that I wanted to put the inside parts to this in here. So I'm going to keep my clear in here, and I found my inside parts. I sanded the side that's going to be up. So now I'm going to very gently put a little bit of glue and place it in there. So glue, be gentle not to get it on your acrylic. We don't want that. And so I used a 1/4 inch acrylic for this project. The reason being is it's easy to grab the pieces. I didn't want the little circles, so I wanted, you know, you to be able to grab the pieces. So when it's a 1/4 inch, it's coming up over the top of our 8/8 inch. And so we're all good. So again, just a little bit of glue, being gentle, and then carefully placing it in here. Now I'm pressing it down, giving it a good shot, and then I'm going to let it kind of settle just a couple minutes, and then very gently take out my letters and then place something heavy on top of this again just to give it more time to dry very well on there. So here's another look at it. I think it looks pretty cute, feels pretty even, and I'll be back in just a minute. All right, so here we have it, guys. Here is our final puzzle. Now this is using 2 sheets of 1/8 of an inch birch plywood and then 1/4 inch acrylic. So that way it can easily just be taken out but I didn't want the circle look to it. So super simple, and I also use Sparkle, don't worry about that, Sparkleberry patterned adhesive vinyl on the bottom. So you can use whatever adhesive vinyl you'd like. You could use paint, whatever you choose. I liked the little floral pattern in the background, so that's why I chose it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really like it, I would love a super thanks. It helps go towards my channel. And if you're watching this and you would like to get a Glowforge of your own, you can check out the link in the description, or you can find out more in the description about my one-on-one trainings.